Flying Joe. Know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 664, Dune.
This one deserves it.
Deserves what?
A real title treatment.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't
no!
realize you just subconsciously didn't script the title because you're just like, no, this is Dune.
I was like, drone didn't really work as well.
Well, you should have said Arrakis. That would have been the... Because Dune is the other name for Arrakis, so that would have been the play.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done that.
I guess if I cared.
There it is.
Like,
Okay.
I guess if I was like, I'm so like, yeah, like.
Well, thanks for coming. I'll take over from here.
I was like, I was like, no, yeah.
We'll get into it.
So we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into it, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. And joining us today via the magic of real life.
Yeah.
It's Matt Reedy. Hey.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. You might see him post all the time in the League of Show Shares. And
also the creator of the graphic.
Creator of the chicken graphic for
right.
the League of Show Shares. So and does all sorts of wonderful he created the Clip Out logo.
Oh, yeah.
We don't really... Okay, well, our people will send you an invoice for that.
So, before we get into everything, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and rate, review, and follow us so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers, where you can join the aforementioned League of Show Sharers. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week: David Rojas, Nick Scott, Librarian Cynthia, Lane Levanway, Tammy Sherman Powers, Heather Sachs, Gabriel Lugo, Ralph Tribble, Chris Valls, Laura Connolly Quiddick, Chris Williams, Tony Dobish, the Epic Film Guys, Travis Tewitt, Jeff Wildman, Chris Magic Man, Tiffany Schnell, I hope I'm saying that right, Cinema Recall, Binge Movies, Dan Buffa, We Have a Hulk, Colby Mack, The Movie Journey Podcast, Mike, and Oscar, Invasion of the Remake, In Session Film, Ryan Terry from the Forza Crowd Podcast, who will be on our Halloween episode, Geek to Me Radio, Ronnie Castle, and Matt Naglia. So thank you so much for sharing an episode. And, of course, finally, don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of content right now, basically Halloween
That's
content.
all it is.
And
it's a plethora of Halloween stuff.
And you help us out, and that's greatly appreciated. So there's all that. Let's dig in to snooze.
Oh, Lord.
That's
how I went into it thinking that was what was
this
going
is a
to
beautiful
happen.
movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it, as a screensaver, 5 stars. But as a story, and I don't and so for me, this is 2 in a row from this guy where I'm just like, well, it looks great.
What was the other one?
Blade 2049.
Oh, I think Blade, which I think is better
or Blade
than
Runner
I
2049.
think it's better than the first one.
Yeah, probably.
Is Wesley Snipes in Blade 2049?
Yeah,
Did they get him back for that one? Okay.
It's a prequel to Blade 2099.
He wants to come back.
Yeah.
But I still just wasn't super invested in it. And
you didn't fall asleep during the screening, to your credit.
No, this guy next to me kept.
True.
They had to pee 3 times. But yeah, I just and I tried to read the book when I was younger, and it was just this kind of does nothing for me.
I think
nothing.
So the original version does nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I see that
I never
cover,
saw the other
Do you mean
movie.
the David Lynch one?
Yes, the David Lynch one.
I never saw it.
No, I will never see it.
Which is interesting because he basically disowns that movie. But
Does he really?
But it has a huge resurgence of people that love it and say how incredible it is. But I'm pretty sure David Lynch hates that movie.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
Yeah, there's I'm going to put in air quotes, director's cut that he doesn't have his name on.
Yeah,
So
he tried to get his name taken.
So it's really an anti-director.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's the Alan Smithy cut of Dune.
He literally hated it so much he tried to get his name off it. So it's funny when people are just like, yeah, well, the first one's really great. And it's like, it's been really bad for a long time.
I think that this one is going to go the way of the first Blade Runner. And everything that like sci-fi related from here on out is going to emulate this. And maybe that's not a good thing. Like I agree. I think it's. I don't know.
Like I don't know that it's so like Blade Runner looked like nothing that came before it.
That's true.
I don't know that this quite is at that level.
You don't think so?
It's a good looking movie, but I don't know that it's Blade Runner good looking.
Well, here's the other thing too: is that this movie, while it's very familiar because everyone else stole from it. I mean,
you mean from Dune?
Frank Herbert,
story.
Right? His 1965 novel, George Lucas took a lot of things from that for Star Wars. So now, I see a lot of people online, ironically, who know that because this will happen. People will say like, "Oh, they totally ripped off Star Wars." You know, if they just
That's
don't
what they did
know.
in John. Remember when John Carter came out?
Right,
Like,
and John Carter inspired all those. Exactly.
They stole that from Star Wars. It's like, well,
right. So I think this one maybe feels more familiar, and you're like, yeah, that. But it's another case where it's like, yeah, those other guys. Dune is so.
I mean, he is basically Luke Skywalker.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well,
Sort of.
the Force, the
Yeah,
voice,
yeah,
the Force,
yes.
Force. I mean, the stuff George Lucas.
Stupid. Exactly. Yeah.
It's all
Stupid
like that.
midi-chlorians.
I know. So there is a lot of stuff that Star Wars copied. So
We don't mention those things.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess those are gone now. We don't talk about those.
But I don't know. I mean, so I read the book a long time ago, and I can't honestly even remember if I finished it. But I mean, years and years ago, I read it. I saw the David Lynch movie, which does have. I mean, it's very dated. Like
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah, the sci-fi is the special effects are very dated, and it does have some good things in it, and the story's so great, of course. But yeah, I don't think it's a great movie by any means. But yeah, I mean,
was it in theaters or was that like a made-for-TV?
No, that was
theaters.
Oh,
okay.
It was. There was a made-for-TV miniseries done
for Sci-Fi, right?
Sci-Fi Channel in 2000
with William Hurt.
Yeah, and all the money went to him, and they had no money left over for effects or costumes.
Yeah, he's
well. They must
top
not
billing.
had. They must not had too much money in the first place. If all your money went to William Hurt, that's like
you mean General Thunderbolt Ross?
It's like all your money went to. I'm making this great comedy, but all the money went to Yahoo Serious.
Well, it's funny. I mean,
we got Carrot Top. That's what we got.
William Hurt is top billed. It's like William Hurt Dune, but it's like he's not Paul, right?
He's Duke Leto, which means he's gone sooner than later.
Spoilers, no.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So it's hilarious that it's like, oh, you're gonna have the guy headlining that's not hardly in the movie and is not the main character. Okay, but yeah, so
that's what they did with
Marlon Brando and Superman.
Yes, but there was. I think it was. Dang it. You said Marlon, and I had one, and I just it was a Steven Seagal, Kurt Russell movie where Steven Seagal was top billed, and he dies in the first 5 minutes.
How about this? Drew Barrymore, she's on the poster.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but that was a deliberate head fake.
Yeah.
That was like
they knew that was the Janet Leigh.
But I mean,
fake.
what's the difference? They put William Hurt on there.
I guess the difference is it's designed to enhance your experience, not to steal your money.
Oh, okay. It's similar though.
The one thing I will say.
Well, hold on. I didn't even tell you.
Sorry. Well, I just want to say that Batista. I just say that Batista has figured this out. That's one of my takeaways.
He's in
from this
every
movie. But he's not the lead, right? Like he has like a part in a massive movie, and you're just like, well, it's good for you.
All
right?
the time.
He's got Guardians.
He's in Bond.
He's got this.
Fast and Furious, right? Isn't he one of those bad guys?
No.
He's not in a Fast and Furious movie?
You would think, but they just got the other guy.
I think he may be
the less actor from the wrestler turned actor. But he's figured out like this supporting presence on screen. And he does have a presence on screen, and he's in this for I don't know, a cup of coffee. I saw him in this, and I was like, oh, this guy's figured it out.
Blade Runner 2049, smallest glasses ever made. This movie, you didn't know this. He's actually wearing glasses. They're just smaller than the Blade Runner 2049.
They're like, can we get these glasses
how
just
advanced the technology
fit
is.
onto your eyeballs?
Those are called contacts.
Yes, right.
But
no,
he wears them externally with a little thing. But I loved this movie. Seriously, I thought this was incredible. The whole time during the screening that Tom and I were both at.
Were you the one nudging him?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was the so it's 2 hours and a half or 2:40, something like that. It's
2:35.
2:35.
Not
okay.
that I was
We'll
counting.
split the difference. I think it flies by. To me, it flew by. I watched it at home again on HBO Max, and before I looked at the clock, it was an hour and a half again. Whatever it is, this world that they've created, I mean, it just sucks you in. Like, I felt like I was on Arrakis. Like, it just really takes your attention, or at least to me, it holds my attention, and I get sucked into that world, and before I know it, an hour is gone, another hour is gone.
There are moments in this that I thought were just like, let's go. Like, let's pick up the pace a little bit.
I felt like it's like got this dreamy quality that makes it feel like nothing's actually occurring. That,
I can see
like it's
that.
not real. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
Well, it's
so,
not real, Tom. This doesn't exist.
Okay. You want to get literal, but
No, Denis Villeneuve went to Arrakis to film this.
He found the
But it feels
Arrakis.
like it to me. That's the thing that makes this movie such great.
It does look great. Yeah.
When you're there and you see it, and he sets up, he does these establishing shots, right? Which of course have a lot of CG, but it doesn't look like it. It feels
that was one of the things I did
physical.
notice is like when he's going over the like the mining town.
Yeah.
None of that felt. We
when
know
he's
that
got,
it's
you're up in
CG,
the sky and there's clouds
but it
and
did
water.
feel. You could see the textures.
And
you could
mountains,
feel. Yeah. So I
right?
thought that
So-
was really. Who was the DP on this? Because it's not Roger Deakins.
No. It's the guy that did Rogue One in the Batman.
So
Greg, I'm blanking on
I'm
his
with
name
you.
now.
Okay.
But he's incredible
Yeah.
because when Oscar Isaac and Timothée Chalamet are doing their walk and talk on the beach, the color scheme looks a lot like Rogue One when Ben Mendelsohn's
I can
like
see that.
walking along. And,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought the movie looked incredible, like you guys all said, but the story, the characters, I thought the performances were top notch. This movie did it. Like it. I've been saying that it would be criminal if they didn't make a part 2 after making a movie this good.
I think this is the thing, and I don't know if that's really a spoiler because it says part 1 at the credits, but
Yeah.
this is a very good half movie. It's a half movie.
That's my biggest complaint. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
this is
it-
Did
incredible.
they say that they weren't
they
doing?
just end. You know,
It's
and
not greenlit
It's
yet.
not greenlit.
Are you
yet.
serious?
Nope. They should have shot them back to back, but I
Oh,
think
dang.
if I had to
nothing's even
guess-
shot for it. A movie that leads like
Yeah.
I don't. How do you spend that much money and then if they do greenlight it, which I'm pretty positive they will, they got to redo everything instead of like just picking
That's
up.
silly.
Well, there may have been 2 factors. I'm guessing was COVID in play when they were filming this, or was
I don't
or was
think
that the,
so.
okay? The other thing I can think of was his Blade Runner sequel didn't do as well as studio
Yeah.
probably hoped. So maybe
But Blade Runner's a movie, not a half. You know, like that's the thing.
right.
I
But
can't
I'm just saying. Well, maybe they were like, well, if this does better than Blade Runner, then we'll okay the second half.
Yeah.
But that seems kind of short-sighted anyway, because now you're just giving everybody half a product.
Well, I think a lot of people think this is marketing. If you want part 2, show up to the theater. You know,
Oh.
ticket sales, stream it on HBO Max. Like a lot of people think because
that's
this,
a gamble.
Well, but I mean, the movie I think is so good and is critically so well
they
received.
probably also don't want people to sit there and go, "Well, I'll wait for the second
That's
one and
ex-
watch them both."
That's
That
what I'm
makes
saying.
sense.
Like, they
Oh,
need
well,
people,
yeah, that's a good point.
They
In the
need
same
people
way,
to
like,
see part 1
because like people do that with TV shows now, and it can
I'll
can
just wait.
screw up the
Yeah, that's
the figuring out if it's
I
worth
do
it.
it.
Because
I
I'll
just
I'll
binge
be
at the
like,
end, yeah.
like there's a true crime one that's on Hulu, and I was like, oh, I remember this story on Dateline, but like it'd be neat to find out more about it. And I was like, oh, 9 episodes, and only the first one's out. Okay,
Right.
I did that.
I'll see. I'll be back in 8 weeks.
I did that with The Sinner.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not watching this week to week. How
Yeah.
many episodes I got? Oh, a full season. Done.
Which
Cool.
which sucks because it's like, well, then it probably doesn't get picked up because
Yeah, so
everyone
like,
else did that.
if I don't
and
watch
it's-
the show and it doesn't get picked up, like then this guy's not going to kill another person, and I won't get a second season. Like,
Didn't they do that with you though? Like that's not
Not
so
with me.
That's, well, not you.
so
Personally.
you began as a Lifetime show where nobody gave it,
and then Netflix picked it up.
and then Netflix was
How many
like,
seasons did it go though?
well, they
Well,
just
it's
put
on
out its
3.
third.
But are
It went
seasons
1.
2 and 3 Netflix?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Netflix basically just bought the rights to stream it, and then the show that nobody cared about on Lifetime I think it was Lifetime, was a huge hit for Netflix. Lifetime had already canceled it.
Okay.
And then they were like, well, we'll continue it, which is why like they cuss in seasons 2 and 3 and they don't cuss in season 1.
That's pretty good.
But
And he keeps getting phone calls from a princess of like Colombia, and then it's like there's this whole thing.
Can we
and
please get like the Christmas Prince or whatever crossover with you?
They probably wanted to, but that shows you how important marketing is because
Yeah.
you've got the same show and where you land and how they market it is a huge difference. So,
I mean, Cobra Kai.
right?
Cobra-
it's
yeah,
the
a
same.
Cobra Kai
YouTube
was on
show.
YouTube and nobody cared. I
Yeah.
bought Cobra Kai on Vudu for the first 2 seasons for $5.
Now they're coming up to
because I was
4?
like, oh, I've heard this is good, and I'll throw $5 at that and watch it because I'm like, I'm never gonna give YouTube $10 a month to watch Cobra Kai.
No one wants YouTube.
And then it was
live.
like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I only watched the 3rd season, and I was surprised. I didn't realize it was kind of more of a comedy, sort of.
It's
kind of. I mean, it's weird.
Cobra Kai is really weird in that, like, I really enjoy it, and I also recognize that it's not very good.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand why it still works as well as it does.
Did you like the Karate Kid though?
Yeah, at the time, like, they were fine. Like,
All right.
But there's
if they bring in Hilary Swank to that show,
I keep waiting, man.
It's
Especially when
gotta
when
happen,
Netflix
right?
canceled their astronaut show. I was like, this is just long
coming.
game, man.
She's
They're
coming
putting her
in.
on Cobra Kai.
Well, they brought back pretty much everybody else.
I mean,
who's still
she's a-
alive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she's about all that's left.
she's the
Yeah.
last one. I guess is what's her name on there?
I need more to go on.
The girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth
She was
Shue.
she was
Yeah.
in one episode.
All right, close enough.
Yeah, I
So-
think she was in a little bit.
Was
She's
it?
in a couple. She had a
maybe.
small story arc,
Okay.
but yeah. But she's been back.
So, Matt, you are someone that has read the book, remembers
yes.
the book,
All
and
of them.
loves the book.
All of
I
them?
love the
Oh,
book.
God.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
How are you not still somewhere reading them? It's so long.
So, what's your take on this?
You
film?
know, it was very good. Like I said, it's the only thing frustrating to me is that here we go and it stops. You know what I mean? So
But I think they
it's-
did it as organically as they possibly could, being half the
well,
movie.
and
Like,
I had to think about it. I had to think about where I would have stopped it if you had to break it. There's really not a good spot.
Right.
So-
It's about the point where he did is about as good as you're going
as
to
you
get.
could do.
I
Right?
think with the part where I was kind of bamboozled was I actually watched the trailers for this, and they show clips that come from scenes further on, but it turns out in the movie those were part of his future
Dreams,
premonition.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
I thought the movie was going to go further into the story than it
Does
did.
the break fall at a halfway point in the book?
Well, they should have continued it just a little bit more because once he joins on with them, then there's kind of like a 2-year time period of them kind of doing guerrilla
gotcha.
warfare. So then that could have done a good, okay, it's been 2 years of this, now let's jump to this.
Okay.
But
Okay.
so I don't know, they ended it just a little soon, but I mean, how much longer were they going to go really?
It's got to be a hard decision to make, but I think you still get a lot of movie, even though I know that it maybe isn't as action packed. Like part 2, Villeneuve even says like part 2 is going to be insanely action packed, right? So like a lot of that stuff. I mean, from reading the books, are a lot more.
Sure, yeah. I mean, but a lot of it still, and again, the books aren't action. It's
Right.
a lot of intrigue and backstabbing and
Political machinations.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good word.
But as
yeah.
far as compared to the first half, though, there was going to be more battles.
Right.
More
Yes. Yeah.
of that
And
stuff.
there's still plenty of characters in the book they haven't
Yeah.
brought in yet. It's. I think they haven't even cast them yet. So that's
John
kind of
Cena.
interesting.
And The
yeah.
Rock are
There you go.
both
Oh,
in there.
Yeah.
no, please, no. So, well, I guess let's get into the plot for people that have never seen a Dune movie or read a Dune book.
So there's I'm going to try my best.
Well, that's what we got Matt here
Yeah,
for.
I know.
Please chime in anytime.
There's a royal family that consists of Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, and Timothée Chalamet. That's his
Yeah.
name. Who's
You
the
can call him
kid?
Tim Chat if you want.
Who's the kid that was in Room?
Jacob Tremblay.
Thank you. I can those two names. I flip
Oh.
them all the time, but it's
Timothy Chalamet and Jacob Tremblay.
Have those two actors been in the same room at the
I
same
don't
time?
think so.
The
Oh.
same
See?
person. No?
See, that's a good point. It's a good point.
They should
And-
get Tremblay to play one of the Oompa Loompas in Timmy's.
He just won. Just do
what?
what they did with the Tim Burton.
Deep
one.
Roy.
Just
Yeah.
keep copying.
Well, that's
them
right.
over.
But yeah, I mean, he should play the Oompa Loompas. It'd be great.
Are they
Deep
remaking
fake
that?
Roy.
Right?
Are they remaking that for real?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're doing like a prequel.
Well, no. They're creating
It's
a
a
prequel.
it's a prequel. They're already filming it.
Oh,
It's
Jesus.
It's a bad idea.
Who's
but-
directing it?
Oh, I
Okay,
don't know.
so it's nobody important.
Well, I can't say that, but I don't. It's someone that probably does musicals, I would guess.
Oh, is
you
it a
should look up
musical?
the
I would
picture they
think.
released of Chalamet. How do you pronounce
Yeah,
his last name?
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Of him in the costume, it looks just like Grover's costume.
Gonzo.
Or Gonzo's. I'm sorry, not Grover. Gonzo's costume from
That's pretty
Muppet
good.
Christmas Carol.
Here's
I
the
mean, it's
thing
almost
that's-
identical.
Here's the thing that's hilarious about that before we get back into Dune, actually. It's like, on The Simpsons, how they all wear the same clothes, Family Guy, cartoon
Sure.
characters
Right.
wear the same things. So it's like, yeah, Willy Wonka as an adult, played by Gene Wilder, wears that coat and a top hat and all this. And then you see young Willy Wonka, Timothée Chalamet, it's a different color, but it's like, yeah, that's his thing. He's always just worn this coat, this top
Give me
hat.
the origin of the coat and top
he
hat.
He has a uniform.
Like
He's a person
like
with-
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
it.
been 40 years and he's still wearing this like
stupid fedora.
But it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I mean, at least
Although if you look at pictures of like your grandparents, they kind of do.
yeah.
there are definitely articles of clothing that
Yeah.
But it's like
consistent.
that is such a specific outfit with the top hat and this coat
Yeah.
that's a different, like slightly different red color, but it's cut the same way. It's like, yeah, he just found this exact.
He just likes that cut.
He's like Steve Jobs.
There we
Yeah,
go.
he's just gonna just
got a
black
whole closet full of them.
just black turtlenecks
That's
the
pretty
whole
good.
time. And
If it were a black outfit, yes, but
Yeah,
no,
right,
it's like
right.
burgundy and a brown top hat.
well, if you owned a candy factory, black is your purple.
Oh, okay,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
Uh,
and it's directed by Paul King.
there you go, Paddington.
Paddington.
One
Oh,
and two.
wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So people are mad at him because he isn't doing Paddington 3 because he's doing
this
Wonka prequel. Yeah,
Wonka Land.
and 1 and 2 people say are some of the best movies of all time.
Well, I think I wouldn't go that far. They are
That's
definitely
what
good
that- you
movies.
guys-
I
you
mean,
can
that's-
say it,
I
but
would say
they
they're
literally
great movies.
They say that, yeah, they're like 100% Rotten Tomatoes. One guy gave a negative review.
Yeah,
Someone has
knocked it down.
99.9%.
Yeah, right,
or
Was
whatever.
it you?
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
You're the new.
I've never
what's
seen
his name?
Marmalade.
Armin White?
I've never seen the Paddington movies. What makes them so
I
beloved?
think. I mean, I've watched the first one with the kid, and there's it's a very well done movie.
right.
I think they're just so wholesome. People
I think
just love
wholesome is
how-
probably the best way to describe
like
it.
in a good way. Like they're just feel good. Like I think The Greatest Showman is one of those where it's like you just can't help but to smile and feel good during The Greatest Showman. I mean, if
Yeah.
you like musicals, that's
Yeah.
a feel
Don't
good.
point at me. Point at Tom.
If you like musicals, was the point.
But see, it's an if for you. I like
That was-
musicals.
Yeah. So I think that people just love that. I mean, Brad Hyan's probably going to write a whole manifesto because
He does love those movies.
He does. And
Yeah,
he
yeah,
makes
yeah.
it known. So like he can explain it better to you. But
They also kind of look like if Wes Anderson made kid movies.
Well, he
You know
did
what I mean?
fantastic.
Well, yeah,
Fox.
that's true. Yeah,
But
Well,
that's
but-
also a good point, though. He does have that like aesthetic.
yeah, that kind of toy box.
Yeah.
you know, everything's kind of
yeah.
just in its right place.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
let's cut this right here. This is part 1 of Real Spoilers Dune. Stay tuned in a
This
year
isn't
for part
this isn't an
2.
Avengers episode. So there is a
How's the Trades?
that's this main family, and they have been gifted this other colony. I guess is that what I'm or
Planet,
they're
right?
they're
It's,
there
it's
to
a mining planet. Yes.
mining planet.
It's
For
that
for
sci-fi
spice.
thing where planets don't have any different, like,
Yeah.
like different topology, right?
Right.
Like it's,
It's all this- it's
like
all
it's like,
desert.
oh, you're a desert planet. You're a water planet.
Right.
You're
That's very Star Wars,
yeah.
right?
And it's like
a
there's
swamp
there's
planet.
only one ethnicity per planet. There's only one culture per planet.
right. It is
Yeah.
very. It is very.
And again, it's
uh,
very Dune.
What do you mean? Oh, the Star
Tatooine-
Wars thing. Yeah,
Tatooine
sure,
is
sure.
Arrakis. That's
Yeah, right. So if I'm right here,
So the Emperor, is it the intergalactic Emperor?
Yeah,
Sounds right. That's I know. That's what I'm saying. This came first. So he has gifted this house, this very powerful house.
right.
I don't. Spoilers. Second movie.
Yeah.
Paul's dad's a Sandworm.
And then you didn't think you liked trade federation talk.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
just wait.
Politics. And that's fine.
Where do you meet Dar Dar Jinx? You are in for a
And
treat.
Barth Bader.
Yes, that's,
So
it's a hoot.
So the Emperor is like, yeah, Arrakis has some important stuff going on there. This spice thing is how we do intergalactic travel, and it's the most important substance in the entire universe.
And
Right.
it will also get you whacked out of your melon.
Correct.
actually, that's exactly what it does.
Yes.
Yeah, and give you
That's the point. Because
Yeah.
sorry to get nerd
No,
police
no,
here.
do
but
it. That's what we brought you in for.
In the world of these books, there's not any high. I don't know if you noticed in the movie, there's not like supercomputers or anything. They have to use more mental capacity for these kind of things.
And those
So
mentats are the
that's
people
what.
that,
They're human computers
Yeah.
basically.
And,
So
that's what Timothée Chalamet.
So are
is.
they literally
He's-
computers, or are
no,
they just
no,
like
they're-
they
no,
have
they're-
autism?
it's more like that.
Okay.
Well, it's more through training and then stuff like that.
and they're
because
supernaturally.
this thing
powered.
takes place like year
10,000,
10,000.
yeah.
So it's like humanity's moved on from they had AI doing everything, and then there was kind of like a Skynet type thing. So then now we've got to move away from that. So
James
now,
Oh, they
Cameron
copied
stole it?
James Cameron
right,
too.
yeah,
Jeez.
exactly, yeah. So that's why you don't see a
Interesting,
lot
all
of
these,
like
yeah,
high
right.
technology stuff in
Yeah.
this.
Gotcha.
So.
And
And that's why that spice is so important.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, we're going to send this really powerful guy that we're a little bit worried about to this most important planet that everyone's going to want to come kill him and take the stuff from.
Right.
He'll be fine.
It'll be all just fine.
And that's what we basically come to find out is the Emperor's like, yeah, these Atreides are getting a little too powerful. We'll let them go
And
chill on.
Is that Stellan Skarsgård?
No, he's the Harkonnens.
Okay.
And they're the ones that have been in charge of the spice. So the Emperor is basically like, yeah, we're giving your whole thing
Do we
that you've
see
been
the
doing.
Emperor at all?
So he took it from Exxon and
No,
he
they
gave it
didn't.
to,
Okay.
and he
Even
gave it
Iron
to
Man.
Shell.
Yeah, right. Quick Trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically they're setting them up as we find out. Spoilers very early on in this movie.
Yes.
Is they want them to fail, and the Harkonnens are in on it.
Yes. So you've got I will say I like the scene with Oscar Isaac and Javier Bardem. Like I thought that was where Javier Bardem is in charge is the leader of this other like
The Freemans.
The Freemans.
The Fremens.
Oh, the
Fremens.
I mean, yeah.
Subtle.
Yeah, right. And I do like where he spits on the floor and everybody's like, hey, and Jason Momoa.
It's the best spitting scene since
Yep, let's see where this is gonna go.
No.
since Brokeback
Continue.
Mountain.
That's pretty good. But yeah, so Oscar Isaac. There's no point in this where you think Oscar Isaac is nefarious.
No,
Right?
He
Like,
he is a fair and just ruler. Like
Yes.
this is a good dude. It's so good. This conversation between him and Paul, I love this. I love the right. Is it just like this in the book where he basically is like, I didn't want this either, or like, I inherited this from my father, and he says, even if you end up not wanting this, he's like, you're still my son. You're still the most important thing to me, which is amazing because in these movies, all you ever get is you're going to take over the family business. You're going to be the next ruler, and it's
You need to
Well,
suck it up.
it's
and
actually
let's go.
kind of nice because he's really the only person in Paul's life not pushing him one way or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
he's his mother's in with. I'm sure you're going to get to this part. The
Sure.
Bene Gesserit, which is a kind of religious sect, and they've through generations of, eugenics or whatever breeding, they're trying to get to what they call the Kwisatz Haderach, which is like they're going to be their
Give a
top
dog-
level.
Give a dog a bone.
Yeah, exactly. So, in
is
a
he kind of
sense,
like the Messiah though?
Yeah,
It's
kind
like
of. Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird. This is a weird story where he's kind of two messiahs because he's that one, but he's also
the Queen.
he's also the Messiah for the Fremen,
Fremen,
too, which
right.
is a completely separate
which
thing.
is called
So
like
it's kind
what, the Quezair?
No, Kwisatz Haderach is the one for the Bene Gesserit.
Oh yeah, what's theirs called? What-
They don't have a name for
Oh,
it.
they don't.
No.
Okay, but so Paul is this kid who's just like, I don't even know if I want to, rule Caladan that they're on in the beginning, like their family's other world or whatever. And then now he's got this other huge thing going on in Arrakis.
First world problems.
Turns out he's the Queef Tesseract.
And so he's like, I don't even know if I want this. But the cool thing is, his dad, Oscar Isaac,
Says
who
with
plays
great
Duke
power
Leto,
comes great responsibility.
no, he's just like, it's cool. You'll figure it out. And it's
You do you, boo.
Yeah, I love that scene though. I think we don't get enough of that. And
I would agree with
It
that.
was very good.
Yeah.
I think if they had cast lesser people, this is going to fail. But because you have like top tier actors doing these parts, like it does work. I would agree with that.
Like,
It does
here's
work.
the cast of this movie. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen the poster with 80 people, I mean, they got the cast, but it's not just stunt casting. I think everyone is A game in this. Like, their performances are great. Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Jason Momoa, Stellan Skarsgård, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Sharon Duncan Brewster, Chen Chang, Dave Bautista, David Dalmatian, Zendaya, Charlotte Rampling. Like, the list goes on.
George
and on
Kennedy,
and on.
Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
No, wait, sorry, that's
A cast of
airport.
thousands.
That's airport.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a really good cast.
And so in the beginning, you've seen this in the trailers if you watched them because they put this in a ton of the marketing. Was Charlotte Rampling is what do they call her? Like a mother superior? Or
basically,
what?
she's
Yeah,
like the head of
basically.
that.
Yeah,
of the
basically.
Bene
Yeah,
Gesserit.
right.
She's
Yeah,
the Queen Queef.
And she does this. Charlotte Rampling is incredible in this. I think she's so
It-
intimidating.
which I
in
think
that
is even
role.
hard to do. She's given a difficult task because she has to do that with the veil on.
Yeah.
So which I think is even harder.
She's like a
she
witch.
Can't, yeah,
you know. I mean,
yeah.
it really but it's like this mysterious evil in the way that they light this movie. You know, it's very the atmosphere is very tense and daunting when he's doing this test. And I think that she's phenomenal in it, and you don't quite know
test
where.
that I'm not really sure what the hell it did.
Well, it's supposed to test his resolve.
When they put his hand in the box?
Yeah, put his in the pain box, and she's got they call it the gam jabbar. It's that little poison needle up to his
so
neck.
what is
they show him
what's
pictures
going to happen
his,
to the needle?
his hand going on fire in the sun of Arrakis. Like, he's feeling the pain of his hand.
Arrakis.
Yeah, it's basically you flinch and then I'll kill you.
Is
So
that what okay.
So
okay.
she's basically giving him that pain, and so if he reacts like a dog trying to gnaw or bear in a trap or whatever, and like tries to get out, then he is not fit to wield, I guess, the power he's been given.
But he fights it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the reason why she's putting him through this is he's not even supposed to be there.
Right.
She
Not
had
even
ordered
supposed to be here today.
She had ordered the mom to have girls only, and then she defied that and had a boy.
The Bene
and then-
Gesserit have 100% control over every part of their body,
Okay.
how everything works. So,
That is legitimately my body, my choice.
But I
mean,
but she chose to be in this religion. I guess biology works different. Because
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
not
I don't
human?
know. I guess they don't explain how you
Yeah.
how you determine.
well, she could probably control, like, if she has 100% control and knows
Yeah,
she's going
She
to have a
could just
male,
keep
she would just
rejecting
yeah.
that sperm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
yeah.
That's-
Not today.
So
Not
yeah,
for you.
they order her because the Bene Gesserit want to orchestrate this super powerful marriage between the houses, and they wanted Lady Jessica, Rebecca Ferguson's daughter,
Why do they
to
have
marry Stellan Skarsgård's son or
His nephew,
or whatever.
yeah, the one they haven't introduced
Sting.
yet.
Oh, I was like,
Sting,
Dave?
yeah, Sting from the first movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sting. So they want them to marry and have this super crazy, powerful whatever. So she threw the whole thing off when she skipped over it, and Paul still became the being that she was
Okay,
supposed to have. And
okay.
so it throws off their plans. But she's like, we'll see. And
but then he wins, right? Like he defeats
Well, that's
this
one thing I like about the story is they set all this in motion, but then he becomes that person by the end, then tells them, hey, you know what, I'm doing it my way. You know what I mean? So thanks for nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
I got you covered. Don't worry about
yeah,
it.
exactly. I'm not going to do what you say. I'm doing it this
My way.
And I think that moment's fantastic.
Kids.
It's such a tense moment where, I mean, obviously Paul's going to get out of it. There's a movie to go. But you see it, and it's supposed to be this incredibly hard test. He's in pain, and then he just stops and stares at her. And Hans Zimmer's score is incredible.
It is pretty great.
This
Yep.
is the best thing he's ever done. It's such.
Oh, you think so?
Well, that's a
such-
bold statement.
I think this is incredible.
You didn't like his Justice League score?
So it's-
I'm totally teasing.
Oh,
yeah.
Junkie XL's the
He did the
original
first
one, right?
He did the Snyder cut.
Or isn't
He
Junkie
did?
XL? Which one?
Oh, it was Danny Elfman. That was Danny Elfman came in because they were like, we'll put my Batman score.
Yeah, so he's in
there.
neither of them. So no, I did not like his.
No, he did
just-
Superman. He did Man of Steel.
Okay, but yeah, that's a different movie. So anyway, this is incredible, though. I thought it's such a departure. It's not his Christopher Nolan horns, you know. It's not, and I know he's done other stuff. He did Lion King, for God's sake, but he got stuck in this where you were like, oh, that's a Hans Zimmer score, right? Like Christopher Nolan, Hans Zimmer, they do, and, you know. But this is seriously such a great, like the House Atreides song with the bagpipes, like he made bagpipes hit real hard, and
It was really good.
It's cool. So
It was really good.
He used to be in Corn.
Oh, there you go. So,
Making bagpipes cool again.
Yeah.
so
No, they didn't.
No, that's right.
but yeah, there's so many moments, and the score really punches up these scenes, and he just looks at Charlotte Rampling like, nope, like, I'm good.
I was actually thinking about Denis Villeneuve.
Dylan, don't call him. There's this YouTube movie reviewer that calls him Denis Villeneuve. That's how he talks.
Villeneuve.
That's
All
what he
right.
called him.
But if you look at it, it's interesting to go back and look at his filmography, and like he has ramped it up as far as like using effects, right? So like I think did he do Enemy
Yeah.
and Prisoners?
Yeah.
Sicario.
Yeah.
And Arrival.
So Arrival's the one where it starts.
Dude doesn't miss.
It's really hard for him to
He does
miss.
not. He hasn't.
I would agree with that.
No, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
I think
Blade Runner 2049.
Enemy is kind of the outlier because I think it's like one of his first
Well, yeah, it's like more of an art house movie,
Yeah.
but it's incredible.
It's really
Like,
good.
yeah.
But like Arrival's the one where he starts to get into the special effects.
Yeah.
And then obviously Blade Runner was what it was,
Yeah.
and now this. So
But for
it's,
sci-fi, like this dude with Arrival and
He-
Blade Runner and now
Yeah.
Dune. It's,
yeah, and it's like you can see a lot of Ridley Scott in those 3 movies. So I'm just interested to see where he's gonna like. What else can we do? Like, can you raise the bar? Is this your bar? Like, is this where we're staying? Which is fine. Like, if this is where we're staying, I think that's great. But after seeing this, I was like, damn, like that's.
But to me, this is top tier sci-fi. Like when I go to watch
I would agree
sci-fi with the ships and the planets and the cool dragonfly looking helicopter things, and I mean everything about this makes me feel like, just like watching Star Wars, right? You escape to another world. You forget everything on Earth, and you're watching all this stuff that Frank Herbert could only dream of in 1965. Like this came from his imagination, off the pages, and Denis Villeneuve made you feel like it's real.
I do wonder what the who was the guy that was going to do this before?
Oh, Jodorowsky?
Yes,
I would love to see that.
That
There's a
would have been-
documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune about his crazy vision, and that dude
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
he's out there, but he's awesome.
Because he did it with Morbius, right? Like
Mobius?
Mobius did the
He did-
storyboards.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it's a really, really, really good documentary. I mean,
Yeah,
but you have to take everything he says with a grain of salt because there's no way that movie would have ever gotten made. I mean, there's just no
that's
way.
the thing.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
it
the
would have
thing.
cost $1 gazillion. I mean, it's one thing to say I'm going to have this person, that person. I'm
Yeah.
going to have Pink Floyd do the score. I'm going to have Rolling Stones do this.
But this visuals-
there's just no way. It would,
Right.
it would. He didn't have the authority to hire all
To
those
have
people.
$500 million.
But it's
Yeah.
incredible, though. I mean, really, his vision is. But this is. I mean, Matt, do you think, as far as like representing Herbert's vision from the pages to the screen?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I think,
accuracy
I think
mean,
so. I mean, but with everything with books, a lot of that's open to interpretation.
Of course.
But
But with you, at least being a huge fan,
I think
you were like, this is.
I think it's funny because I think the costume designers took some things almost literally, because in these stories, it's kind of a feudal society that
Yeah.
people live in. You know what I mean? So you've got these great houses, and it's that kind of thing. So I don't know if you noticed like
medals.
they
and uniforms
kind
wear,
of look, it almost looks like suits of armor. And
Yeah,
stuff
because they
like
say
that.
and they say like they go for their formal wear is like it looks like a naval
Right.
dress, whatever you
I
call it.
also like how some of the stuff looks kind of almost real world. I don't know if you noticed when they first introduced Jason Momoa and he comes in and the flight suit he's wearing looks like something you'd see here.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
there was nothing really quote unquote
Yeah.
futuristic about it.
Yeah, and I love the relationships in this movie though. Like you really do feel like you've got this kid Paul who's grown up. You have all these people around him. You've got the Josh Brolin as you're waiting for, Joe, and you've got Jason Momoa, and they care about this kid. And
Also, Jason Momoa should never shave his face.
yeah, that's the only
That
thing where
is-
you're just like
he looks weird.
And
without
also,
a,
after this,
without a
I'm like,
beard.
Oscar Isaac shouldn't either. That beard is a beard.
that is a pretty
right?
epic.
That is an epic
that is
beard.
an epic
yeah.
beard. That is for sure.
When they, when he was doing press for his other stuff, or whatever, he had shaved. And
Is
I'm
it
like,
is
no.
it- did he shave it off or was it like shorter?
No, he shaved it
Oh,
for
okay,
the
okay.
was it Scenes from a Marriage. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
With Jessica
oh,
Chastain.
Well, also
Oh.
Moon Knight.
He is.
something
Yeah,
like
he
that.
is the
I
new
don't-
Moon Knight. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking
That
forward to
guy
that.
is awesome. I'm glad he's doing well because he's a great actor. And if you look at the different roles he takes, he's in so much stuff.
Oh yeah, he's all
you
over
know?
the place.
Yeah, he's doing all the stuff, and it's great work. Okay, so they get to Arrakis,
and everything seems to be going all right for the most part.
but the Harkonnens kind of rigged it against them, right? Like they broke their equipment. They took stuff.
they have like their equipment is janky is the
Yeah.
best way to describe it. Like their mining ships are not working correctly.
They don't have as many. Like they
set them up.
Yeah.
basically. We get a really good action beat here where there's a one of the mining ships stops working, and then because there are these giant sandworms, if there's any sort of like weird movement on the sand, these sandworms kind of attack, and they are identical to the Sarlaccs.
Well, now
Like
when you
this.
see Tremors too, you're like,
And
this
that's
is
true, yeah,
straight
right,
Tremors.
right,
The
yes.
whole premise of Tremors is sandworms from
jumping
Dune.
on rocks, like
Yeah,
that's
the vibrations.
Kevin Bacon has to jump. Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward have to jump on a lot of rocks.
But I
in
saw Tremors first without knowing Dune, and I'm like, this is
It's the same thing.
That's where it comes from.
and
yeah.
the Sarlacc pit looks just like this thing.
yeah.
Like it's the same exact thing. so a really good action beat where Oscar Isaac is trying to get all of these people and off the transports and the ships and everything and get them to safety.
And it shows
Paul has this moment of like a flash forward to a possible future. And what I mean by that is he has figured out that what he is seeing is one version of a future because he does it again, but he changes the narrative.
Which I'm guessing could be because he's taking different actions. Maybe it is constantly moving. Do you take it that way, that what he's seeing is the visions are changing because things are actually changing? Or
I think most of the visions they show him having this movie are things that actually do happen. There's a couple exceptions.
But doesn't he say, like, at one point he's like, I thought it was my blood, but it wasn't, like, because
that one was a little confusing.
Okay.
I just thought it looks like he's seeing possible futures. And then when the moment comes, he's like, "Oh, this is going to happen, so I need to go this way instead."
Well,
of
like
that
here's
way.
the deal. So in the beginning, he says, "I see you." To Jason Momoa, he said to Duncan Idaho is the character's name. He's like, "I see you go," but is he seeing a vision from what?
Just the names.
The name.
Yeah.
Can I do a slight aside real quick?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Long time ago, 18 years ago, when my wife was pregnant with her first child. We were coming up with names, and I, in all dead seriousness, had on the list Duncan Idaho, and she's like, "What's Duncan Idaho?" I was like, "From Dune." She goes, "No, heck no," and I was dead serious, and she was like, "Nope."
What were yours?
What's that?
What were the
If
two?
we had a girl, we were going to name her Addie Prey.
There you
from
go.
Paper Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, see. Well, even better was when we had the name we ended up with, and after he was born, she called into the newspaper to do the birth announcement, and the girl said, "Oh, I love his name, it's so unique." And she goes, "My daughter's name is Alia, named after the character in Dune." And I was just like, "What? See, I had something there."
He was like, "I married the wrong one."
That's right.
I mean, I named my youngest after a Spider-Man character. So,
But when Paul has a vision of Duncan dying, do you think it's the future one where he actually does?
I think it's a contact high from the spice.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I think
Because
it's
he
a
goes and he
combination
doesn't
of
die
things.
because
Right.
he's
Right.
like, oh my god, they get to Arrakis 3 weeks later. Duncan is going to meet with the Fremen and try to form an alliance based on Leto's orders, and then Duncan's back and he's like, hey, I'm here, see, I'm alive. But was Paul actually picturing him dying in the future?
He did. It actually, the scene it showed in his vision was
It
the
is that
exact
one?
was the exact
Okay.
same hallway that he got killed in against the elite
Okay,
troops that he
so
fought
Paul
against.
just doesn't know quite how to tell
Right.
time frames and such, but he was picturing
Right. He had
him
he was
dying
spot
on Arrakis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean,
Momoa
that's-
is at the.
Well,
doesn't
it's
a
make
lot
it
of
out
people in this
yeah.
movie, and a lot of them die.
Yes.
so.
Well,
Yeah.
I think all of them die.
A lot
Although-
of one picture deal.
Oh no! Take that back. There's another spoiler alert. That character, Duncan Idaho, is the only one that's in all 6 books. He comes back as a clone.
Dun dun dun.
So Momoa's playing the long game here. If this turns into,
Okay.
yeah, he's
Clone?
got,
He's hoping
set.
for that
If this
6-picture
turns
deal.
into,
He said pay or play.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, the turn happens, right? Like there's this doctor who I did see getting some press is that they didn't whitewash this doctor. Apparently, he is like of Asian descent in the book, and
the medical, the family physician.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he's a traitor, and he turns on the entire
Oh,
family.
well, thank God they made sure that the.
I know.
Well, not defending it, but they had his wife hostage. That's why he did it.
Well,
he wasn't
Well,
doing
he was
it.
told that his wife was held hostage.
Well, she was
She was
for a little bit.
for a
Yeah,
little bit,
yeah.
at least. Yeah, right.
Well, what we find
There's
out,
a lot of head cutting off
This-
in this movie too,
this-
which I thought was kind of cool.
yeah, this who was the Harkonnen, the bad guy, Vladimir Harkonnen, played by
Wow.
Stellan
Wow.
Skarsgård,
Yeah, the Baron. Yeah.
Baron Harkonnen. He
Which I
is-
got to tell you, the makeup is pretty great.
oh, he's
For a
yeah.
fat suit, that looked pretty
Yeah.
cool.
He's incredible, but this dude is a bad dude. He is the opposite of Duke Leto.
Yes.
like he says he's going to do nice things or whatever, but they're like lying by omission. You know what I mean?
He's the epitome of a villain, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
But he does not. He takes no prisoners. He kills everyone. He goes back on his word. He is a horrible,
He's Hans
horrible.
Gruber.
Yeah, he's a horrible ruler. Like he's just awful. And but Stellan Skarsgård though, seriously,
Really good.
That portrayal,
Yeah, it's pretty great.
that was a great villain.
He does sometimes he puts on a voice, and the voice works like for the size that this guy is, because he's kind of like a I don't know, like a
He's
gelatin.
huge,
He's a
yeah.
gelatinous
He's
blob.
Jabba the Hutt.
Basically, he is Jabba the.
I mean,
Jesus Christ, he is Jabba the Hutt.
so but he.
I kept thinking Vogon.
Oh yeah.
Vogue from Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Hitchhiker's
Galaxy.
Guide to the Galaxy,
It's
yeah.
the ship that originally is that blows up the Earth that they escape on, and he's always reading Vogon poetry, and yeah.
But I love the way that he moves too. I mean,
He floats.
Yeah, I'm guessing from the book that's a
Yeah, that's
straight
right.
out of that.
He's got a suit that
But
makes him
so
float.
he the way it's lit, it's like, is it Greg Fraser? Is that the DP? I think that's the cinematographer. But it's so darkly lit, and especially in these villainous portions, and they put Stellan Skarsgård like right out of frame or blurry in the background, and it's so ominous with the score and everything, and you see him floating in the background, and you see him glide over to this doctor and slit his throat. Like,
He didn't slit his throat; he cut his head off.
okay, but like the way he moves is so sinister and creepy.
He moves
And
like
intimidating
a
'cause
snake.
he's huge.
He moves like a snake.
Yeah, and he floats over to you. It's really good, and that performance is phenomenal.
It is really good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
But the doctor, I do like how he tries to help the Atreides the best he can. He's doing this because he wants to save his wife, and it sucks that, of course, it ends up they die anyway, but, and he screws over this whole family. But he gives Duke Leto the capsule to put in his teeth, so he's like, bite down on this. And
So you have one shot at this.
Yeah.
And if you can get it, if we can get everybody in this room in one fell swoop, and he does. I will also say the guy that was Polka Dot Man.
yeah, David
is
Dalmatian.
also in this as well. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's got it figured out too. Like, they've just figured out I don't need to be the star. I just need to be in this movie somehow.
He looks so much like the guy from Barry. Like,
He
David
does look like
Dalmatian
him. Yeah,
playing.
right.
Like, I don't know how they didn't get him to be one of the Harkonnen.
That's fair.
I mean, he's just got that look. That's his natural look, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have the eyebrows, but he's pale. He's thin. Like,
You talking about the guy from Barry?
yeah, the guy from Barry.
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird that it's like he's literally playing that guy who's awesome. He's from Bill and Ted 3. Like,
He is a Bill and Ted.
I can't think of his name,
Yeah.
but he's great.
So the turn happens, and it looks like that we lose everybody. We think that we've, Josh Brolin kind of leads the charge, and he gets blown up.
Well, actually, they don't show it. They don't show.
I guess that's true. They don't show it, but
he'll be in the next movie. They were a little vague on what happens.
okay.
Okay. So
he escapes.
it was like, well,
If
they
you
killed
don't
everybody.
Show me the body.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
don't
Show
see-
me the body. So Timothée Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson have to go out into the desert, and they're just trying to survive out there.
And this is another one of those like lying by omission type things where the Baron says he promises Charlotte Rampling's character that she says Lady Jessica has our protection, and therefore Paul also does. And he's like, I will not kill them. And then to his guys, he's like, I won't kill them, but you're going to send them into the desert, and the desert kills everybody.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I didn't kill them. It's not my fault. They didn't
Technically,
survive
I didn't
out
do
there.
anything. Yeah. It's like I'm punching in the air, and if you happen to run into this, then that's it.
I'm not touching you.
Yeah.
So Paul practices the voice in the beginning of the movie, which is the
sure,
Force
sure,
thing,
sure.
and he doesn't quite have it mastered.
Your pitch ain't right, son.
Yeah, and so when they're on this helicopter with the Harkonnens trying to take them
It was
out
a cool scene.
to kill them, and another real tense scene. He uses the voice, he doesn't do it right, and then you see Lady Jessica do the voice, and that is badass.
It was pretty cool.
Kill him, cut his throat, or cut your own throat,
cut
or
the
what?
ties
Like,
and do the- yeah.
it's really cool
It
the
was
way
pretty cool.
she does that. Yeah.
So they are kind of dead to rights with the sandworm, and there's this tech called a thumper, which you can put into the sand, and it will kind of get the sandworms to go the opposite way. Right, they will go towards the thumper. So they're saved, and we find out that it's the Freemans that save them. And Javier Bardem is like, they want to kill this kid immediately because they're like, the dead weight, you're in our territory, we don't want you here. And Javier Bardem is like, this kid's kind of cool. Like, his dad was cool, so maybe this kid's cool.
But we have no use for this woman.
Right,
She's
and-
too old to bear children, which she is pregnant, we find out.
Correct.
Timmy figures it out, and she's like, how would you know? I've only known a couple weeks, but this kid,
he Jedi mind tricked.
yeah, he's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
He knows this stuff. He says, I had a vision, you're pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So, and then, but these people, the Fremens are very, what would you call it? They're not, I'm not trying to say old
Nomads?
fashioned, but they're just like, you're a woman, you're useless, you can't bear children. What's the point of you? They're very
but their women are equal warriors to the men in their society too, though.
But why does he say that about her? Why does he act like she's just a
because she's not
I don't know.
one of
He's
their
just
people,
a jerk,
maybe?
I guess.
He's okay. So never mind. He's a jerk. The people aren't. So never mind.
She also didn't come up through that culture to
That's
be
what I'm
an
saying.
equal
Yeah.
warrior.
Yeah, true.
So he says that, like,
And he doesn't know. Like, she is badass and proves it here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I think that it comes down to, if you want to join us, you got to kill or fight our top fighter.
Well, but what happens though is they're basically going to kill Lady Jessica,
Right.
And they're like, you're cool, Paul, if you just chill. And she actually gets Javier Bardem dead to rights.
Yes.
So, and he's pretty much the
I do
leader.
like where he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, maybe we
what was that?
underestimated you. So then he's like, okay, these people have my protection. They're cool. And the other guy is like, yeah, no,
Right.
I'm not cool with that. And you're not our leader because she bested you,
So does that mean that she's the leader?
basically.
All right. And
But
then-
then he would challenge her or her champion, right?
Yeah, they kind of need them to teach. They have a fighting style called the weirding way. I'm doing air quotes as if we can see this on the air.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. Don't feel bad.
So, and that's also part of the force thing, with the voice.
Yeah.
And like that. So but it's also part of their fighting style. So that's why the reason they bring her in. They're like, you and Paul can help teach our.
Oh, okay.
our
But at
people
first,
this-
though,
yeah.
the guy that has the problem with it, I'm trying to look up. It's Babs Oluskanmukan.
That's the actor's name.
Yeah,
When in Universal, ask for Babs.
yeah. He plays Jamis. We'll call him Jamis.
Jamis works way better.
He's
We
like,
be Jamis.
We be Jamis.
yeah, he's like, yeah, no, I'm not taking these outsiders, and they have no purpose. Whatever, like, I'm not cool with it at all. And he's like, I'm going to challenge her or her champion. I guess I don't know if he gives her that out because she's a woman, like, instead of challenging her. But I guess maybe by their rule, you can choose it.
I think so. I think it's
like
probably
Game
like
of Thrones.
combat. Yeah,
if
exactly.
you watch
Yes,
Game of Thrones,
exactly.
yeah. So he's like, who's her champion? And then Paul's like, I am. So now he has to, because she bested their leader, so she's the new leader. But you can challenge the leader whenever you want to be the guy, which is another thing you see all the time.
Right.
You can challenge the leader and take the spot, and so
Like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Just like Butch Cassidy.
yeah,
and
there you
Sundance
go,
Kid.
exactly. So Paul's like, yeah, well, I'm her champion and I'll fight him. So now these two have to fight to the death to be the leader.
I do like that he beats him. It's a good fight. It's well choreographed.
I thought Chalamet is really good with the fight choreography.
I was impressed.
Throughout
I was
the film.
I was
He's-
impressed.
yeah.
Like, usually he kind of looks like that may not be his go-to.
Yeah.
It may not be the most comfortable in that, but
Yeah.
I thought he did a really
He's
good
in
job.
pretty good shape in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Yeah.
a tall, thin guy, but like he's pretty ripped in this movie. And then you see him doing the sword practice and the fights with Brolin. And
But by the way, is Brolin just not as tall as I think he is?
I don't think he
because
is as tall as you think he
looks
is.
really short next to
The problem
Chalamet in
is-
those fight scenes.
Is he was Thanos for so long,
Right, yeah,
that
yeah.
you just assume
but
like,
even,
oh yeah,
but
he's-
even before then, he just seemed like, I don't know.
he's
He was
pretty jacked,
also-
though. I mean, he's pretty wide.
yeah,
so I
but
think
he's.
that may be-
I also thinking like when you see him in comparison to the kids in the Goonies,
Oh,
like he's
well, yeah, good
significantly
point, yeah.
older. So like he's way tall. But you're right, in the
Yeah.
Goonies for sure.
Yeah.
He's like at least he's heads and shoulders above
Yeah.
those kids. But I don't think. I mean, I think he's like 6 foot.
Well,
He's
well, they-
5'10".
5'10".
Okay, they
There
made
you
it.
go, yeah.
They did make a joke about that in Deadpool 2 about, well, Cable's not as tall as I thought he was going to be, but I just thought that was because Ryan Reynolds must be really tall.
I think Ryan Reynolds is like 6'2", 6'3".
Okay, all right.
So we should also mention the Dr. Liet Kynes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's kind of in the middle of both these worlds.
Oh, sure.
She's
She
the-
walks in both worlds.
Yeah, she represents the Emperor, and she's there to oversee the transition between the Harkonnens and Atreides. But she also is cool with the Fremen and has their abilities, right?
Well,
She has
she's one of them.
Okay, so
she is
she-
one. They didn't. She also, by the way, they gender swapped her in this movie. It's a guy in the book, but it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
And also, so I'll say it's mother instead of father. That's the mother of Shanti, which is Zendaya's
Zendaya.
character.
Oh, okay.
and we haven't
But-
mentioned Zendaya, which you
which-
might find interesting.
she's because she's barely in it.
7 minutes. Of
Right.
Yeah.
Other
screen
than
time.
flash forwards, I mean,
Yeah.
that's about all you see of her. in
Which
here.
is interesting to see how after this weekend that'll be received, because Zendaya is a popular actor. She's really good,
Yeah.
and she's doing all the press tours and the
Yeah, and
marketing.
she's in it for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
7.
2 of them are visions.
Yeah, I was going to say she has
Yeah.
maybe what I would say 2 lines of dialogue in this,
If that.
if
Something
that,
like that,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's at the very end.
I saw someone count it was 7 minutes, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's less than Drew Barrymore in Scream. So
Is it? But is it less than Margot Robbie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I don't think so.
No, she had more than that.
She didn't originally.
Well, I mean, this character is
Until
more
she agreed
important.
to take her shoes off.
Correct.
Yeah.
You got how much screen time you want.
So they do this
so they
fight.
did the fight, and Timothée Chalamet, Paul wins.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's pretty awesome. I mean,
And I
he's
do
quick.
like that he stops twice, and the Javier Bardem's like, "What is he
Like,
doing?"
do you yield?
And yeah, do you yield? And they're
They're
just
like,
like,
there's no yielding in
"What do
this.
you no, kill him? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And Rebecca
There's
Ferguson's
no
like,
yielding in Dune
There's no
duels.
Yeah.
yielding in Dune. I do like that Rebecca Ferguson's like, he's never killed anybody before. He doesn't know what the hell
Well,
he's doing.
that's about to change.
And then he kills him.
Yeah.
And it was a good move. Like, it wasn't a dastardly move. It was the guy lunged, and Timothy Chalamet
He's quick,
took
and he
the shot and
did the gut,
and,
disemboweled him or whatever. He just
and then I guess that they gave Rebecca Ferguson, what is her name, Jessica and Paul, the option to leave, and Jessica was like, "Yeah, we're gonna bounce."
well, Jessica.
Yeah, she wants to go. She wants to go
leave.
back to the home planet.
Right.
She,
And
how she was going to
and-
get there, I don't know.
and
but-
Paul was like, "No, we're gonna stick this out. We're
But
gonna
Paul
fight with them."
Paul sees these visions, and he's come to realize that what he's seeing is his destiny, if you will. Like he sees this is
A
his
hero's
future
journey,
with these
if you
people.
will.
Well, probably
it's
that's
sorta. I mean,
yeah. But he knows that he has a future with these people, and we see him on the battlefield, and it's really cool. The one big battle sequence you get is one of those forward
Right.
sequences, and you see the two armies. It's like the Emperor's army,
Yeah.
which the Harkonnens enlist to help them.
And they're all wearing white. Isn't that interesting? Like a bunch of stormtroopers.
and it's the Harkonnen or the Emperor army versus the Fremen, and you see this warrior who's really badass, and you're not sure who it is, and he flips over some people, does some cool moves.
Yeah.
And his visor comes down. It's Paul with
Right.
blue eyes,
With
right,
blue
and
eyes.
they used that in the trailer. That's where I was confused on where this movie was going to end.
Right.
You know,
So
I
that's-
thought we were going to get at least into him leading them into battle and
So
stuff
that's a
like
real
that.
battle at the end of the first book.
Or within it. It's,
Within the
yeah,
first
yeah.
book,
When
okay.
because he's with them for long enough. That's
Yeah.
why his eyes turn blue.
Gotcha. So
Yeah, I think this is. I'm shocked that they didn't greenlight part 2. The way they leave this, I was like, "Oh, we'll just get part 2 next year."
but to their credit, though, in the first 5 minutes of the movie or whatever, it's like Dune Part
It
1.
does say Part
They don't
1.
bait and switch you like you're watching a Part 1.
You don't
So
get
when
you don't get Hunger Games Part 4.
But there's a big difference between this and say, remember how they split it?
Yeah.
At part 1, you could just watch that part 1 and never watch it again and be fine.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
You might be better
that's
for it.
the-
Yeah,
It might
actually,
be,
you're
yeah.
absolutely
It's
correct.
the better part.
Yeah, and it kind of it settles itself by the end. You know,
Yeah.
everything kind of wraps up for the most part. This does not.
There's no
This-
closure. That's
There's
the problem.
There's absolutely no closure.
When I left the theater, that's what I said to people. How'd you like it? I'm like, I loved it. I was enthralled by it. I I loved it. But my biggest complaint is like, it's half a movie. It's a
Right.
great half a movie. But the more that I let that sit with me, I'm like, you know what though? But if I'm going for 2.5 hours and seeing these amazing sci-fi visuals, these brilliant performances, I was in it. I had a great time. Like, it still was a very satisfying experience. But my one complaint is, to its credit, it's so good. You want more. Like you're hooked, and you.
I don't know if I wanted more or as much. I just wanted to. I want to know what the ending of this. Like, where are we going?
Well, that's
Right. Like, that's kind of.
I
potato.
Sure,
I'm just saying
sure,
you
sure.
want more. It was so you're like you're not like, oh well, I won't see part 2. It sucked. Like
That's
you
fair.
want more. Like,
That's what was that?
you
The oh, God damn it! It was the one that we.
Fast and Furious.
No, because I've given up on those. But it was like wasn't. Oh, what was the Shailene Woodley one that they did not?
Insurgent.
where they were just like,
yeah.
we're done. Like,
Yeah.
that's,
I
like,
was so
never
mad
did
at the end of that because I didn't realize that I thought it was a 3-movie thing.
Yeah.
And when it ended and they set up for a 4th movie, I was like, I thought we were done.
But that was
Come on.
remember that was
And
in vogue for a while. That
Yeah.
the final movie of any of these things they're going to split into two.
Right.
Well, that was the
And-
Harry Potter
and
thing.
Twilight.
Yeah.
and a couple others did that.
and then they didn't, and then they ended up not making it. I was like,
Right.
thank God.
Phew.
I'm gonna throw myself out there for ridicule. I actually liked the first Divergent movie.
I thought
It's
the
not
first one wasn't
awful.
bad.
But I never watched the other ones. I never felt the
Just-
need to
you're
watch
good.
the other
Yeah.
ones.
You're
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, but yeah, I think that I do think that this is an amazing looking movie. I also watched this twice. I did it in IMAX, which I think is probably the best way to watch this. I also watched it at home. If you've got a really good setup, I think it's totally fine. It doesn't. You need to see if you're going to see this, do it in the theater.
If you feel comfortable, but if you don't just not
Don't.
watch it. Like there's a lot of people you can
watch it at
only
home.
see this on the theater. And
No,
I always go
I am
back to
definitely not that guy.
Yeah, you know how I watched Star Wars for the first time on a VHS on a 19-inch TV, and I love it.
Do you have
And
any
I
idea
fell
how
in
I
love
mean,
with
you
it.
didn't see it in the theater before you were born.
Right. But to say
Star Wars,
movies,
Back to the Future, all that stuff. I
To
watched on a tiny little TV.
but movies don't play forever in theaters. So
Right,
you're saying
right.
in a year from now, whoever's too late to watch in theaters should never watch Dune? I mean, again, this is incredible on the big screen, and I think all movies are better if you can see them that way. But to count it out, we've got we've got a whole lifetime of movies we've watched on home video for the first time, and we've loved. So
That's how I saw Batman.
yeah, I mean, so see it if you can, and it's 100% worth it and better than at home. But if you feel safe, to feel safe, you watch it on HBO Max.
Do it.
And give it the stream because we need part 2. So the more people watch it on HBO Max, the more likely it will get greenlit.
That's true. Yeah.
If it really hasn't already, which I think it has, but they want those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
gonna
I
help
really
us
hope
out.
it does. I think then again, I find this weird because now you've got to get everybody lined up again. You have to have all these.
That's a good
you have-
point.
You know,
And
you
the
have to.
sets and
you have to.
the-
Well, the sets are one thing, but getting all the cast together because they're out making other movies. You know, he's
Right.
doing his Wonka thing. You know, I'm sure.
She's got
half-
Spider-Man's done.
Right,
so
yeah.
it's-
Half these other people
Yeah.
have. So you've got to wait for all of them to get
It's a
done with
lot
their
of people.
projects.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate to bring up stuff like this, but let's just say they made this movie 6 years ago, and Armie Hammer was in it. You know, what do you
Right.
do?
Lock and
What
change,
do you do when you got to make the sequel? And you're like, well, he's not really bankable, so
I know that's tough. Well, hopefully they
let's
move on it.
let's hope nothing like that happens
No.
with somebody. From
Not
this
our
cast,
Timmy.
but-
Not Timmy would
No,
never
yeah, of
do
course
anything.
not. But can I mention one thing
You
at
can
the
mention
end?
anything you
One
want.
thing at the end that made me laugh.
What's that?
And not in a good way laugh.
Oh.
But one of the things in the stories that's really awe-inspiring to see is how these Fremen ride these giant sandworms.
Yeah.
Well, they never really show it in the movie, you know, they never really get around to it. So at the very end, they decide to just show one riding a sandworm in distance, you know, like, wee! He
Like
might as well be
surfing, yeah.
doing the hang loose thing.
Should have been Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I had to laugh when I saw it. I was just, that's just ridiculous.
That's
you know?
funny. To me, not knowing the material as well and not even thinking about them riding a sandworm, it didn't stick out to me, but, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying to like the outsiders, I didn't watch it and go, well, that was ridiculous.
It just
but
felt like they had to jam
Yeah,
that in there,
you
like,
know
oh, yeah.
more about that they
well,
do
it just
that,
felt to
so
me
you're
like
just
they're like,
like-
oh, we forgot to show somebody riding a sandworm. Quick, throw that in the background. Have the guy cruising by. He's going to go get milk, and he's coming back.
Yeah.
It's like in Heat when they were like, "Oh crap, we never
them in the same room."
we never put De Niro and Pacino in the same scene together.
Whoops.
Let's cut and paste a scene from a TV show nobody remembers."
Hey, Mike, what do you got on tap for us? I got this thing. I guess we'll try that.
They did that on Caddyshack as well.
What?
They realized that they never put Bill Murray and Chevy Chase in a scene together, so they had to call them back to film the scene.
Which was
that you
actually
get.
one of the best scenes, or
Yeah.
funny scenes.
And they
in
were,
there,
and it's the first time they had interacted since the fist
Since the
fight.
fist
on
fight.
Oh, wow.
SNL.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
so
where Bill Murray calls him a medium talent,
Yeah.
which was an insult that was recycled on the season finale of Ted Lasso.
Oh, was it
They
really?
refer to
Oh, wow.
somebody as a
Okay.
medium talent,
That's
and I was
funny.
just like, oh, somebody knows their SNL history.
I think
That's
the main
that's
character of
about
that show.
it.
Probably.
So we should say the Baron in that scene where Duke Leto uses the poison capsule, he kills a lot of the Harkonnens, and they close up that chamber. They later find the Baron up on the ceiling,
Yeah.
trying to like.
It looked like a
Avoiding the-
balloon at a
Like-
kid's
Yeah.
party that got it loose. And
like Lionel Richie.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think he was dancing, but he's holding on for dear life. So he's like in the back to tank.
They throw him in a mud bath.
The back to tank.
It is a back to tank,
repairing,
yeah.
And what's his face comes in and
We
is
have
like,
back-to-back.
Batista's like, Uncle,
I'm telling you,
what's going on?
He may not. He doesn't need to be the best. He's like,
Yeah.
can I just
I
have
know.
roles in the
No, he's
biggest?
fine.
Can I just have the roles of the biggest movies coming out
Yeah.
this year?
Or
But
have
we get
2 movies in a row with mud baths.
That's right. I was thinking the same thing.
And
yeah.
bagpipes.
That's right.
But we get creepy, another creepy imagery of Stellan Skarsgård coming out of
Oh,
a mud
that's
pit.
so gross.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, dude, do your thing," and then goes back in sinister in this
Well,
sinister
and that's
way.
and again, just because he's a villain amongst villains, that's his plan. Is like, I've got 2 nephews. This guy's a brute. I'm gonna have them go out there and just mess things up, and I'll bring in the other nephew, and everybody will like him just because he's not chopping off heads.
Yeah.
you know. So,
Exactly. And I hope he wears that the underwear and has spiky hair like Sting.
oh, he's saying, oh yeah, the cod piece. You mean that? Yeah.
God, make that guy Constantine. Just do it.
Think?
Yes.
Too old.
No, he's not.
Yes,
No.
he's old.
No. Constantine is old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do it. HBO Max. Make it
So
happen.
is that it?
Yeah, that's
Are we
it.
done with the
We're
movie?
done with the
I
movie.
don't know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way it stops, I don't know.
It's
I don't know if we're
just
done or
like
not.
just like
I
the
can't
movie.
tell.
We're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for.
I don't know. I'm really curious how that's gonna, react with audiences. They're gonna say, "Wait a minute, what happened?" You know.
I think so many of them are watching it at home that it won't be as jarring.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just be like, well, that's how TV works now.
That's
know?
true.
Yeah.
And I think that.
But then they're going to be tuning in next week when they know when it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the next one?
Yeah.
But it's not also like it in like. I know it doesn't have like your traditional like Shakespearean plot diagram of like rising action, falling action, but it's also not so intricately plotted that I didn't feel like they left me hanging.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
felt
they chose
I
it
just felt
organically
like,
to
well,
work.
it's okay. That's,
He joins the Fremen. He survives. He and his mother survive. Like I feel like there's enough things to where they kind of win the day.
yeah. If
So-
they weren't already telling you there's going to be a part 2, and I know they haven't greenlit it, but like if this was just a
thing
movie
on
that
its own.
lived on its own, and you didn't know that there were 95 books, and
Sure.
and you might walk out being like, yeah.
What?
But in today's world, everything has sequels.
There's
Yeah.
always whether it does or doesn't.
Even
it's
movies
going to
that
get a
tank
sequel.
have sequels.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
It's
I agree. I think if it weren't if it weren't as well made of a movie, you might
Yeah.
be more mad. But the experience, you got 2.5 hours of sci-fi visual
Yeah.
feast, and
Yeah.
Plus, I had to pee again, so I really wasn't mad it was
Yeah.
over. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know that makes a whole lot of sense, but I got to pee. So
See, I think they should have made this a 4-hour movie and told the whole
Yeah.
story and give everybody still suits like what they wear in the thing.
Yeah,
where it just
with
recycles your
purchase.
pee. You don't have to
Yeah.
leave your seat.
start wearing diapers to
Yeah.
movies like I'm a rogue astronaut.
Some water
Yeah.
world.
there's some cool.
Oh,
There's
it'll be a
some,
water world.
there's some cool tech. I mean, we didn't get into it because of time.
The
but
suits I
some
think
cool
are pretty
tech.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the Wasp ship.
Dragonfly.
I thought those are really
those
cool.
look really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett.
And Matt, where can they find you and your wares?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, MATTREEDY219, and that's it.
okay. You can also find him in the League of Show Shares.
Ah, there we go.
He
Yeah.
posts all the time.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I've got nothing else to do.
He's like our norm.
He is our norm. Yeah.
So, and you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at Facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at Facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Don't forget our Patreon, Patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you just a little bit more. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Bert and Heather have an armory.